Time. All right. Welcome,
Hello.
everybody. Muscle Science
Welcome
for
to
Women.
Muscle Science for Women, one of the top podcasts for women who
Apparently,
want muscles on
apparently, it's one
Spotify.
of the top podcasts for
That's
women if
amazing.
you just search for us, which I'm like, about time, guys. I
Yeah.
think,
It only took
but
5 years. No.
yeah,
How
no, but
long
I
have
think
how long
we've
have
been
we been
doing it
doing this?
for, I want to say, close to a year and a half. I mean, we're coming up relatively soon to 100 episodes, you and me. That's
Oh,
pretty
wow.
awesome. We need to do something. We need to do something
Let's do
special for that.
something.
We'll come up with
Yeah.
something. We've got a little while. This is like 83 or something, but on the 100th
Yeah.
episode, we should do something. I think it should have something to do with all of the listeners like sending us presents or money. I think that's the best idea. Personally, I think
Should we post our Venmos in the
I
show notes?
mean, listen, people get Venmoed money for worse than providing amazing entertainment
Oh
and
my God.
information. So I'm just throwing that out there. We'll see how the audience responds.
Okay.
I'd love to get presents and money. I think that would be great.
Rachel-Gregory-4.
Yeah, just send it to I'll give you my email. You send it straight to PayPal. Okay. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, okay. So it's coming up on everybody's favorite candy holiday. I actually think Easter might be my favorite candy holiday, but
Mm.
Halloween is a close second. Are you going to do something fun? Do you have a costume? Are you going to party? What's the deal?
What is it, October 31st?
Yeah.
Probably do something fun with friends. Definitely dress up the doggies in some
Gotta
costumes.
do it.
Haven't
Yep.
thought haven't thought about it yet.
Yep.
Um, for my costume, I am not sure yet, but
Mhm.
I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm also not fully decided. I mean, obviously, I won't do anything probably very fun. Maybe my friends will have a party. Sometimes when people get their act together, we'll have like an adult party. But most
Hmm.
of my Halloween fun now is obviously centered around my kid and putting him in adorable costumes. And he's now at an
Love
age
that.
where, yeah, where he has some say in it. Like his first on Halloween, I'll have to like post some pictures of all of his costumes so far because they're just so cute. But when he was first born, he was like 5 months the first Halloween, and I dressed him up as an Ewok, and I was like a
Oh my
real
God.
big
I think I
fan of it.
remember that.
It's so friggin' cute. And then
I
the
love
next
that.
year, he had a like lifelike sea turtle costume because that's my favorite animal, and that was really really cute. And then last year, what was he? He was a sloth, pretty cute. This year, he can tell us like what he wants, and he's been saying for like 5 months that he wants to be a ghosty, a ghost,
A
I guess.
ghost.
So
A ghosty.
I'm just gonna, I don't know, it'll be a boring costume, but whatever makes him happy. But
I
I
love
really
that.
like that he's kind of been into lately, like, you know, how kids go through phases of like, I'm obsessed with dinosaurs, I'm obsessed with trucks. And he's
Hmm.
been like really into monsters, which I don't really know where that comes from. He's too young to really watch anything scary, but I love it because I like scary, weird stuff, and
Hmm.
I think that's cool. So I'm really trying to sort of encourage his love of like creepy, weird stuff. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. But he just like he
I love
loves the
that.
concept of monsters and ghosts and whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, Halloween's gonna be great for you. I
That's so
have
cute. Are you gonna take him trick or treating?
We'll definitely take him trick or treating. I will take most of his, I mean, you know, like last year he was 2.5 and I gave him like a small thing of chips and like maybe one. I still have a hard time giving the kid pure like a peanut butter cup. I'm just like, this child does not need that. And if you want to say I'm no fun, you can. He's had cookies, he's had lollipops, he's had treats, but I just know what sugar does to his tiny body.
Yeah.
And I also feel like there is this weird no coming back phase where once they've
Mhm.
tasted something that delicious, like the first time, again, no judgment, guys, you got to get through the day with your kids. But for me, the first time he tastes a cake pop from Starbucks, like it's all over. Like, how are you going to
Yeah,
get him to eat a piece of broccoli after that? You know?
that's
So,
true.
I mean, he doesn't eat broccoli anyway. So that's kind of a dumb comparison. But so, you know, I still, for his birthdays, I make him his own cake. It's not like a
Hmm.
cake made out of zucchini and dirt. It's still a cake, but it's a healthier cake. That's
Yeah.
how I feel. I eat a lot of sweets. I have a sweet tooth. I love it. But just like our Ninja Creamy obsession, we like sweets and we like treats and we just make healthier versions of it. And that's what I
Hmm.
try to do with him while not completely closing him off from what the rest of the world enjoys. So someday he'll get to eat a peanut butter cup, but probably not this Halloween. I'll eat them instead because I'm an
I'm
adult and I get to make
like,
these
yeah, you just
decisions.
want them all for yourself. That's
100%.
the truth. That's the truth,
100%.
which is
It's
totally fine.
two parts. I want them for myself, and I also don't want to deal with the kind of monster he becomes if he eats a couple of them. So yeah, he'll get a
Feel that.
couple, but I have a few costumes in my arsenal that I'll probably pull out depending on what the weather is. Like the American Gladiator costumes
Mhm.
that we both had last year were great. I'd pull that out again if it's warm. I have a mermaid costume that's just evergreen. Love that. I also have a Medusa costume I'd really like to pull out, but that might be more for like an adult party. So I've got some options. We'll see. But I'm a big
Hmm.
fan of Halloween, so I really I really like it, and it's fun to relive these things through
Yeah.
kids, right? Because it's so much more exciting for them. So
Yeah, for
so it's
sure.
cool. This also means that it is pumpkin spice
Oh
season, and you
man.
live close to a Trader Joe's, so I'm sure you're just like seeing the pumpkin spice explosion everywhere. What's your take
Yeah.
on pumpkin spice as a flavor?
I'm not like a diehard pumpkin spice. I don't care that much about it. Honestly, all I'm focused on is the squash.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Delicata squash is
yeah,
in season and that's the thing.
yeah. You're a gourd obsessive, just not pumpkin specifically. You're a squash
Yeah.
girl.
I'll
Yeah.
put pumpkin spice on squash. Like when I
Yes.
instead of like usually I'll do like salt and cinnamon when I roast it, but I'll do
Yes.
pumpkin spice during like the fall.
Hmm.
So that's typically where that's the only like pumpkin spice thing that I think I
Yeah.
consume.
I actually really like pumpkin as a thing. Like pumpkin spice lattes, I don't find particularly good just because I find the flavor profile at most places are just mostly sugar. Like it just, you're not really
Hmm.
tasting much pumpkin, certainly, but
Yeah.
like pumpkin pie, I love, and I make a lot of
Mm.
pumpkin, like healthy desserts and stuff. So I actually like a pumpkin spice treat. Coffee probably wouldn't be my first.
Hmm. Feel
Um,
that.
yeah, maybe we could make. We talked about this last year. I'll probably make a pumpkin spice ice cream in the Ninja
Yeah.
Creamy. Have you ever tried to put your squash into a dessert? And why
Still
not?
not yet.
Just do
Still
it.
not
Do it
yet,
for
but I
all of
do think
us.
I think pumpkin would be great in it, especially like vanilla active stacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like vanilla active
Mm-hmm.
stacks like pumpkin itself because that'll give it even better consistency, even if you just use like
Yes.
canned pumpkin.
Yes.
Um, and then some pumpkin spice and maybe like uh some type of extract. Not
Vanilla.
like vanilla extract or like
Yeah.
cinnamon something I
Mm.
think like the stevia Now Foods brand makes like cinnamon stevia drops or English toffee
Mm.
stevia drops.
Yeah.
That's really good. I feel like
Have
that could be
you
like a good combo.
That was a great segue for Active Stacks, our sponsor, by the way.
Yeah.
But do you ever put yogurt in your Ninja Cream, like in your protein ice cream to
Mm.
try to make it thicker, like Greek yogurt?
I've tried in the like when I first started experimenting a lot. Um I tried that and like cottage cheese, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, for some reason the tanginess that it provided in the creamy, I just wasn't like a huge fan of that in the
Yeah.
creamy. Like it gets
Yeah.
the yogurt gives it a bit of a tang that I
Yeah.
love when I'm eating yogurt on its own, but I just didn't really enjoy it in the creamy, so I haven't done that.
I
But it
do
does
feel
give it more
like,
consistency, yeah.
yeah, I do feel like when you're trying to get rid of that yogurt tanginess, you do have to like go heavier on the sweetness or something to offset it, which
Hmm.
kind of sucks. But and yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you want that flavor and sometimes you don't. And the ice
Yeah.
cream, it's like a little weird. So I guess that's a good
Yeah.
point, but
But blended cottage
is
cheese,
better. Yeah.
actually, I still because I eat cottage cheese and Greek yogurt like every single day
Hmm.
on its own. So I don't like typically add it to anything else. But cottage cheese doesn't have as much as a tang.
Yeah.
But it still has like the creaminess, especially if you like blend it first.
Hmm.
Or you might even not have to blend it if you're gonna blend the
Yeah.
creamy anyway once it's frozen. So
Yeah.
that's something that people use.
All right. Well, stay tuned, guys, because I will
Mhm.
make some kind of pumpkin pie ice cream and I'm going to keep harassing Rachel to make some kind of squash dessert of some kind. Because if you're going to eat 400 squashes this season, you should make something sweet for
Well,
those of
kabocha
us.
squash is technically a Japanese pumpkin, so it is a type of pumpkin. So
There you
you
go.
could I could make a kabocha squash.
And that's what I'm explicitly requesting of
Maybe.
you.
All right, I
So
might
do
have
it.
to do it. Okay.
Back to active stacks. I have been
Yes.
more on a vanilla run lately. Like everybody knows, we've talked about it a lot that I tend more towards the chocolate
Hmm.
side of things, but I don't know why. I think maybe I've just chocolated myself out. So I've been doing a lot more vanilla, and that one really is like one of the best
So good.
flavors. Like it because it has real vanilla like paste in it. It's
Bean.
not
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's not just vanilla flavor, which I honestly like fake vanilla flavor too, but the real stuff you can definitely tell when it's real. It's so much
Hmm.
better. So guys, don't sleep on the vanilla flavor. It's really
Yep.
good. Both
Do
are
we have a code
delicious.
still?
Yeah, it's MSW 10 for
Okay.
10% off. And the URL is activestacks.com/MSW. We'll put that in the
Hmm.
show notes. And they still have the two options, right? They have the beef protein isolate and the collagen, beef protein
Hmm.
or beef
Collagen
collagen.
protein. Yeah.
Yes. Depending on what you're into. And if you have questions about which one's better, is collagen a full protein, whatever, go back through our last
Yes.
45 episodes because we talk
We
about
have
it a
so much
lot.
content on that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But thank you, Active Stacks, for being the
Yes.
dudes. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's get into some
Cool.
questions, shall we? Okay.
Yes, we shall.
Let's answer this question from Timberly. She says, Hi, Ashley and Rachel. I just started listening to your podcast and I absolutely love it. Appreciate you.
Whoop,
I'm
whoop.
23 years old. Have you noticed, segue, we're getting some more younger ladies? I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
like that.
I'm really into that. That's great. We love to see it. She
Hmm.
says, stumbled across you guys on Spotify while trying to look for a good podcast for carnivore dieting advice. That's another
Oh,
subject. She
interesting.
says, I love your podcast and I always look forward to your episodes. What workouts would you recommend for PCOS? She says, I have hormonal issues that are sadly genetic, but it seems like every time I eat good and have an amazing diet, I always ruin it close to my cycle or late at night. I also work on a cattle ranch. I have a physically demanding job and try to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. What do you suggest or what advice would you give me? Thank you in advance.
Hmm.
So that's a couple different questions. There's a lot going on
Hmm.
there, but if we want to maybe start with anything you have to say
Hmm.
about the PCOS or the period stuff,
Yeah.
do you want to start? Do you want me to
I mean, I
start?
can just I'll just like give a little bit and then you
Mm-hmm.
run with it. But I would say that from the PCOS side of things, like that is already a stressor on your body. And so if we're thinking about, okay, if we want to reduce uh the overall stress to your body while still, building muscle and achieving, you know, your desired body composition, just like we say with everything else, it does come down to smart training and making sure that you're training in line with those goals. Especially if you're already very active, like on a cattle ranch, that means that you're probably doing a lot, like your NEAT, like your non-exercise activity thermogenesis every single day is probably really high. So you're likely burning, a lot more calories than someone who's, sitting at a desk all day long. So that's one side of it. And then it also kind of what she mentioned, that when she gets closer to her cycle or late at night, she tends to quote unquote ruin her diet. That tells me, especially the late at night, maybe snacking or things like that, that you're probably like not giving your body enough nutrients during the day. And so you're getting to the end of the day and you're hungry, snacking, cravings. So that's where I would kind of look into like, okay, how is your nutrition spaced throughout the day? Are you fueling enough? Are you getting enough calories overall to support not only your active job, but your lifting sessions as well? So, and then around your cycle, like it is normal for women to have different cravings, especially like leading up to your day one of your period, just the way that your hormones are fluctuating, that can absolutely cause different hunger hormones to fluctuate, different cravings and things to come. So being aware of that and starting to like track that a little bit more, and even giving yourself, like for some women I work with, like giving yourself maybe the week before your period when you notice hunger is higher or cravings are higher, bumping up the calories a little bit. Even just like 1 to 200 calories a day can make such a big difference to kind of like help uh, normalize that, or not normalize, but help kind of dissipate some of the hunger and cravings that are coming there. So if you can do that and start to track that and be aware of that more, that might be something that helps you to, um, you know, get out of, get, more out of your training, more out of just like managing this whole thing. But it's also thinking about the stressor to your body and making sure that you're not over stressing it from all these different angles. And not eating enough is also a huge stress, right? So that's my thoughts there.
Yep. I would just echo a lot of that and say, I don't think either of us are necessarily specific experts on PCOS. You may know
Mhm.
more about it than I do, but generally speaking, even more than the average female population, like you said, PCOS symptoms are exacerbated by stress. So
Mhm.
things like a really intense workout program may be problematic. A carnivore diet also may be problematic.
Mhm.
And again, I'm not an expert in this. There may be certain people or individuals who would do well and help manage symptoms with carnivore. I would say most likely, probably not. And it
Mhm.
could contribute to not getting the calories that you need, the nutrients that you need. We know that in different parts of the cycle, our bodies tend to crave more carbs specifically, not even just more calories, but carbs. And if you're getting
Mhm.
none, that can be a problem. So that may be something, again, do your research. If you're feeling strongly about carnivore, keep going with it in terms of understanding and learning. It may not
Mhm.
be the best option for you as someone with PCOS. And I think going back to the cravings and the eating too much or ruining your, diet around your cycle, there's a couple things to talk about and just expand on here. And this is relevant to everybody with a cycle. We don't, you're saying you have a good diet. We don't know what you're referring to specifically. So
Yeah.
maybe if we knew exactly what your diet is, we could say, hey, actually, if you did X, Y, and Z, that would probably be a good start. That's why having a coach is helpful. But
Oh.
it's just, we take your word for it that you have a good diet. But to Rachel's point, if you are having strong cravings, it may be because you're missing out on something. But another thing to consider here is that, again, cravings and specific cravings around your period are common for a reason. Because if you think about things like chocolate is a huge one, right? What
Mhm.
does chocolate, especially dark chocolate, have? It has magnesium, it has iron, right? So most of us are deficient in magnesium across the board, period. Most of us are probably having lower iron around the time that we're bleeding. So it really makes
Mhm.
sense that we're going to be craving things like chocolate. There's research around your serotonin levels can be lower around your period. And one way to increase serotonin, the feel good kind of hormone in your brain, is to eat more carbs. So people are going to eat more carbs. So all this to say that it's pretty normal, and not only should you not feel so bad about it, like, oh, I'm screwing everything up every month because I eat chocolate and I can't help it. Know that there's a physiological reason. And then the second point is, what can you do about it? You can be proactive. So, like you said, maybe eating a bit more the week leading up to it. But if you know that this happens every month, let's not keep letting it happen and then being pissed off after the fact. Let's say, okay, I know that on this day, for these couple of days, I tend to eat later at night. I tend to eat more sweets or chocolate or carbs or whatever it is. So then, if you have a specific meal plan, maybe you plan ahead of time and say, these are going to be my treat days where I eat some chocolate and say, screw it. So that I don't feel bad about
Mhm.
myself. I'm doing it strategically and it feels good and it's giving me something that I need. Or you say, I know I keep using the chocolate example because obviously that's me, but if I'm craving chocolate these 3 days, can you make chocolate protein ice cream instead
Yeah.
of Ben and Jerry's? Can you make better options? Can you have these better options in your house so that it's harder for you to reach for the crappy stuff and then feel bad about it? There are
Mhm.
things you can
Especially late at
do.
night.
Exactly. So there's things that you can do. Can you try to focus on getting, if you're eating a lot of meat, your iron is probably pretty good, but most of us are deficient in magnesium, vitamin D, and then our iron stores get lower on a monthly cycle. So can you eat foods that are really high in those things to try and, mitigate that stuff?
Mhm.
Those are all things you can think about doing. So my kind of the main addition to what Rachel was saying was just these things are very common and don't beat yourself up over it. But once you know, just knowing something isn't fixing the problem. You got to do something with it. And you can do
Mhm.
something with it because this happens every month. So you can be proactive and take steps to mitigate any of your issues. And so then you don't have to be pissed off every month, or at least as pissed off, because some of us still get pissed off during our periods, and that's also fine.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Love that.
All right.
Um, yeah.
I think we
I
killed that.
can I share something as well that I have read in one of my books that I'm reading related
Yeah.
to like women, and we're talking about like PMS and things like that.
Yep.
So there is a this little, and I haven't tried it yet, and I don't know if you've heard of it. I don't typically get that many PMS symptoms. Sometimes I'll have like cramps and
Hmm.
irritability.
Hmm.
Definitely irritability.
Yeah.
But like cramps like come and go. I would say like maybe every 3 months I'll get like a
Hmm.
some crampy sensations. But there is kind of this PMS cocktail, and the combin is a combination of so basically leading up to your period, if you are noticing PMS symptoms, if you're feeling that and you're looking for some remedies. I know a lot of people like they'll have cramps and they'll like pop an Advil and things like that. So this is every night, 7 days before your period starts. So the week before that, the combination of this PMS cocktail is 250 milligrams of magnesium,
Hmm.
45 milligrams of zinc, 1 gram of omega 3s. So, like a combination of fish oil, flaxseed, um, omega 3s, and then 80. And also, just we're not doctors, we're not recommending this as like
Hmm.
medical advice or
This
anything like
isn't a
that.
prescription. Yeah.
This isn't a prescription. This is just from some research that I've been doing. And then 80 milligrams of baby aspirin.
Hmm.
um, if you don't have any contraindications there. So that I haven't tried it personally yet.
Mm.
But it is something that maybe just to
Yeah.
share the knowledge, could be something to try if you've been struggling with like really intense PMS symptoms. This little cocktail, again, I'll just read out 250 milligrams magnesium, 45 milligrams zinc, 1 gram omega 3s, and 80 milligrams of baby aspirin.
All right. I mean, I haven't done that, but I will say that I supplement with magnesium and fish oil every day. So I'm
Hmm.
kind of taking that. And then
Yeah.
zinc. I mean, I eat a lot of oysters, which are very high in zinc. So maybe
Hmm.
that helps me. But yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
I think again, trying to make sure that your stores of things that are habitually low for most of us is a good
Hmm.
place to start.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, because I'm probably with you. Like I definitely my symptoms really are minimal. I'll like every couple of
Yeah.
months, like you said, I'll be like, ugh, this doesn't feel
And
good
it's
for a
probably
day.
because we're so like in tune with our nutrition and we're eating these things. Like we already have these things that are high. And absolutely, like you said, getting this from food rather than supplementing is obviously
Ideal.
ideal. But if you're like in it and you're like, I want to try this, it could give you a little bit of extra
Yeah. Yeah, if
relief
anybody
there.
has tried it, reach out and let us know. You can email us at musclescienceforwomen@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4. Let us know if you have done something like that or if you have any other thoughts or feedback
Hmm.
on this question or anything else. Um, I have a question for you that is something that has been coming up for me in my coaching practice. I have some thoughts, but
Shoot.
I want to get your expertise on it. What are your thoughts on how bad or not bad is it when one of the biggest issues, we're talking about food, we're talking about calorie intake, we're talking about nutrition intake, we're generally, for most clients, talking about trying to body recomp. So, building some muscle, looking more toned, losing some body fat. And it used to be that I would say one of the main things I see with the women is eating not nearly enough food and not nearly enough protein. That's like just an easy,
Hmm.
like I'll open up their thing and immediately be like, this is probably what the problem's going to be. And that usually is. One thing I'm seeing a lot more of recently, and I'd like your advice or your feedback on whether you think this is an issue or what, is just a complete lack of consistency in calories specifically and also macros, so over a period of time. And this is why I think the first one of the first things you'll say is like, this is why we track, right, to know.
Yeah.
But I'm fascinated, and maybe again because I've been doing this myself for so long that I am consistent because I've just been doing it for a million years. And when
Hmm.
I'm not consistent, I'm at least consistently higher, consistently lower or something. But I think people really don't know. And then they write it down and it's like 1,200 calories, 2,400 calories,
Hmm.
1,600 calories. It's just all over the place, like from day to day.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
So, yeah, I have many thoughts on that.
Great.
I
I knew you
think
would.
that it is, yes. So, like what you said, eating enough food and enough protein in general, that's like the low hanging fruit, right? But if you're having calories swing the pendulum, like you just said, from day to day, that is absolutely going to affect your energy levels, right? It's going to affect the next day, right? If you ate really low one day, you wake up the next morning, maybe you're overly hungry and now that you're overeating, right? Or maybe you're someone who's like saving up calories for the weekend to go out and things like that. All of those things are going to contribute to fluctuating energy levels throughout the day, which is going to negatively affect how you just generally perform in your everyday life. And of course, going to affect how you perform in your training, right? If you're going to the gym lifting weights. And then also, our bodies are so smart, right? Like our bodies are so smart and they recognize these things. If you're sending a signal to your body one day that you're in a deficit and you're not getting enough fuel, it's going to respond to that and be like, "Hey, what's going on here? Like I'm going to down regulate your movement for the day because there's less food coming in. I'm going to down regulate like hormones and all the things that, contribute to energy levels and just sleep, right? All these things. And then, if you swing it the other way, the next day, it's the same thing. I like to think this in the way, like, what are the signals I'm sending to my body? I want to send my body signals that, especially, okay, obviously, this is like if you're at maintenance, right? We're not talking about being in a deficit or in fat loss or anything like that. We're just focused on, okay, like I'm going to eat to fuel. I'm looking to maybe body recomp or whatever, build some muscle. I'm not in a dedicated deficit. You want to send a signal to your body that says, hey, I'm safe consistently, right? And that is, if you're not doing that, if you're swinging the pendulum so much day to day, your body's gonna be like, what the heck's going on? Like I have no
Mhm.
regulation, right? It's not gonna feel safe. It's not gonna want to do certain things, certain days. And that can absolutely catch up to you. I mean, I absolutely went through this myself and take clients through it. So that's a big part of it. And then also it does absolutely affect like your circadian rhythm, right? So
Mhm.
our circadian rhythm is not just our sleep cycle. When we eat, what we eat, timing of our meals throughout the day, the amount that we're eating within those meals absolutely affects your circadian rhythm and how your body responds. And so that's another piece of the puzzle where, if you asked me a few years ago if meal timing mattered throughout the day, like, as long as you're hitting your protein and getting your calories in, I would say that's the main, like, those are the low hanging fruit. Those are the main drivers. But I have been way more adamant about meal timing the last like 1 to 2 years in the sense of consistently eating at around the same
Mhm.
time each day, because that in itself helps to regulate your circadian rhythm, which is also a piece of your hunger hormones, right? So if you're eating at all different times throughout the day, the signals that your body is sending you, ghrelin, leptin, those hunger hormones, those are going to be all over the place. But when you start to eat consistently, right, around the same time, doesn't have to be like on the dot, but like, okay, I'm eating breakfast between 8 and 8:30. I'm eating lunch between 12:30 and 1, et cetera, right?
Mhm.
Your body will then start to like when it gets close to those meal times, your body will signal you that you're hungry, right? And it will start to send those signals, and those signals will start to align day to day. If you're eating at all different times throughout the day, all different quantities, those signals are going to be all out of whack. So you're going to be hungry at different times throughout the day. You're going to get more cravings, more hunger pangs. It's just going to be kind of like it's chaos, right? So that's like the biggest thing that I look at is like, can we be more consistent with the amount we're eating day to day and the timing of that food to make sure that we're sending that signal to our body consistently that's like, hey, I'm safe. I got fuel. It's coming
Yes.
in, ready to go. And
Yeah.
then lastly, just to say one other thing, there is a time and a place that you can use calorie cycling. Um, when it's warranted. So, like, if you are in a fat loss phase and you are looking to use calorie cycling strategically in a specific way, there's tons of different forms of that. But that is going to be proactive, right? So, if I'm using calorie cycling with a client, we are planning your week out ahead of time. It's not a reactive thing. It's not like, oh, I ate less yesterday, so I'm going to eat more today, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, okay, if you know that you are someone who does better having a bit more calories on the weekend. Maybe you have like an extra 200 to 300 calories on Friday and Saturday, because maybe you go out to dinner or whatever. So then maybe we bring it down by like 1 to 200 calories on the other days of the week, but it's not a dramatic like 600, 800
Mhm.
calorie shift. And that's proactive. Like you're planning it out ahead of time. You're not reacting to it.
And even
Yeah.
that, again, has a cycle. It's not completely
Mhm.
haphazard, like you're saying. The proactivity of it is that you're planning it and there's a consistency that your body over
Exactly.
time recognizes. Yeah. So I'm glad that you reiterated and reaffirmed what I thought, because
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, it goes back to everything that we've been saying, but also that it's not about perfection. It's not about being the strongest, best, hardest working person. It's about just being consistent.
Mhm.
Just be consistent for yourself,
Yeah.
for your own peace of mind, for your own body. So you
Yeah.
feel, like you said, safe. I think that's really good. And I think also this doesn't mean that if you've determined that your maintenance calories are about 1950, that you have to be 1950 every single day.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to have leg day. You're probably going to do a little bit more. Maybe you're going to eat a
Hmm.
little bit more on leg day. Maybe you have a day where you literally sat around and watched movies all day. Probably could eat a little bit less. But we're talking about over time, maybe today was 1850 and tomorrow's 2000, and then the next day is
Yeah.
1920, and then it's not 1200 to 2600 and like these
Exactly.
wild fluctuations. Because yeah,
Yeah.
it's like people, I do feel, and this isn't to blame any particular person, but I just feel like we are so, again, we are so reactive. We're just like, why is my body just haywire? Why doesn't it want to react to me trying to lose weight? Why doesn't it
Mhm.
why don't I have consistent energy? And then you look at this and it's like, because you don't know whether you're coming or going. You're eating just whatever happens.
Yeah.
And you woke up, yeah, of course, if you ate 1200 calories yesterday, of course you're going to be hungry and you're
Hmm.
probably going to overeat. And then you're pissed off at yourself because you're like, why did I eat so much? I have no
Hmm.
willpower. It's like, no, dude,
Yeah.
just make a plan and then
And
stick
that's
to it.
why, yeah. And that's why tracking is not just about like, oh, I'm tracking because I need to eat less. It's like, no, you're tracking because you need to see what you're doing and
Yes.
how you can modify it.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be forever. And on that note, you'll be happy about this because I feel like I haven't mentioned this, but I actually have not been tracking
Mm,
for like I've tracked on and off a little bit. Like some days I'll start the day and track, but I'm like the last month to 2 months, I'm like in a really consistent routine. I'm like my mindset is I'm gonna fuel myself because I am really feeling the gym right now,
hmm.
and I'm eating a lot of food, and it's probably the first time in many years that I haven't like consistently tracked or pulled up like my app.
Nice job.
I'm
And just reaffirm for all of our control freak listeners, have you gained 40 pounds of fat from not
no,
tracking? No. Oh, that's so
no,
wonderful. That's so
no.
nice. I can't wait to be in a place in my life where I'm like feeling it in the gym again. I got to tell you, like well, I guess I've had periods since, becoming a mom, but like generally, I just feel like I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. Good. Whereas I used to be like, I'm the strongest person ever. I'm killing it. I
Yeah.
can't wait to get back there. I envision it.
I
I
know.
see it. I see it in my future. I haven't given up, but I'm really looking forward to just feeling like
Yeah.
a badass instead of just somebody who like crossed it off their list. That's a nice
Yeah.
feeling, when you just feel
It
like you're in a
is.
good groove in the gym. It just feels really
Exactly.
good. Yeah.
And you go through cycles. It's normal. Like I was in
Yes.
that place where you just mentioned, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe back in July and June, where I was just checking the box.
Mm-hmm.
But since August, I've been like in a groove, and I've also been very, very diligent about my pre-workout nutrition, and
Mm.
post-workout, like peri-workout and intra-workout. Um,
Your single Jolly Rancher or
yeah,
whatever weird thing you eat in the
I've
gym.
actually like yeah, I mean I eat my pre-workout meal, and I've been spending a little bit more time in the gym, so my workouts have gotten to like maybe an hour and an hour 20, just because I'm slowing it down a little bit in terms of resting, and I just enjoy being there and I have a little extra time, so I have been implementing like the intra workout, but once it gets to like 40 minutes, I'll like
Mm-hmm.
have some of the sour patch or whatever, just because I know that my pre-workout meal has now kind of been used up, and
Mm-hmm.
I can start to feel energy dipping. So I use that strategically. And it does definitely help. But yeah, I think what goes along with how I've been feeling lately is really paying attention to that peri-workout nutrition, because I feel so much energy in the gym, and it makes me excited to train because I just like know that I can push myself. Um, So yeah.
Maybe I need to bring those Halloween peanut butter cups that I'm stealing from my child into the gym. Maybe that's what I need
Well,
to
yeah.
kickstart
Well,
my.
I would say with peanut butter cups though. So
Don't
that's the
burst
thing
my
though.
bubble, dude.
I'm
All right.
sorry,
It's
but well, but
sugar.
can
Okay.
I gotta explain it to the people though.
All right.
So
Fine.
just because, whatever. I can't help myself. Peanut butter cups are probably not the best thing for intra workout. And the reason for that is because
Disagree.
they are the reason for that is because they have a good amount of fat in them, right? So
Yeah.
if you're intra workout using candy
Yeah.
or something like
Yes.
that, you want straight glucose.
Yeah.
So straight sugar. You want like Sour Patch Kids, Swedish Fish. They're just sugar. There's no fat, no protein. It's just straight glucose. So you want that glucose, sucrose. You want that because it's going to digest very, very quickly. If you
Yeah.
have buttercups, there's fat, it's going to slow that digestion down, and that's not why if
Eating
that's
it
not
in the
the
first place.
eating
Yeah.
it in the first place. You want that
Yeah.
quick energy to digest super quickly. So not to knock the peanut butter cups, but it would not be my first choice if it as an intro
Once again, science is a bummer. I mean, that of course
workout.
is true and makes sense, but it sucks only from my personal belief that chocolate is better than candy. Like I just, and
Yeah.
maybe it's because I just love fat, so everything I eat is has the most
I
fat in
mean,
it.
if a peanut butter cup, like if that works for you,
Go for
absolutely
it. Yeah.
try it out. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And even like the
So,
placebo effect of the morale
mhm,
boost is
yeah,
probably all that I
yeah,
actually need.
yeah.
All right, well, we'll see.
Well,
We'll see. We'll see what my Halloween haul is that I steal from my child,
yes.
and we'll go from there.
Should I I need to let Mia out. Should I let her out and say
Yeah,
hi
let's
to
say hi
the
to the
end
new
of
pup.
and then I have to bring her out to potty.
Yep, good
Um,
idea. I think we
do
all
we have
should go
anything else
potty.
to
No, I think we're
say?
good. I think we're
Okay.
good. Yep. Everybody hang on for a second so you can listen
I
to a
also think
puppy.
that we need to take a picture of us so we can post it on social media, and then maybe everybody else listening to the podcast will also take a picture while they're listening and post
Well,
on social
that's
media.
a cute idea. Okay. Everybody, are you listening to
Since
the
I have
sound of
the
a
puppy,
puppy?
you gotta
Oh.
take the picture. This is Mia.
Okay, what do I do?
Do you have
Screenshot?
your phone? No,
Oh, you want
just
me to
like
do it
take a
that
picture
way?
with your
Okay.
phone. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I should
big
have brushed my
yawn.
hair. Okay,
It's
hold on. I'm
okay.
taking a picture.
Mia, did you brush your hair?
Wait,
Look at the
wait. I gotta
camera.
do this.
You might need to take like a few of them.
Okay, hold on.
Look.
Oh, cute. Oh, she's being really cute. Okay, that was good.
Yay.
It's easy to be photogenic when you're an
Yay.
adorable puppy. I'll say that much.
Yes. And if you're listening to this and you'd like to watch it, we also have all these episodes on both of our YouTube channels. Oh, Lilo came to say hi too.
Hey,
Hey, Lilo.
Lilo.
I don't
We
know.
still love you just as much, even though you're the first child.
Okay.
Okay,
We
hold
have
on. One more.
two.
Here we go. This is
Hold on.
great
Wait, the
podcasting, by the
microphone's
way.
in the way. Hold on, one more.
I got it. No, I got it. I got her. She's out of the way.
Got
She's
it?
good.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone is
All
like,
right.
I have definitely stopped listening. Okay. We
Okay.
love you,
Love you.
listeners. We love you, dogs. We love everybody. We love peanut butter cups. We're full of love. Join us next week. Share this podcast. Help support the show so we can keep doing what we're doing. And we appreciate you. And we'll see you next time.
Okay. Sorry about the dog barks.